like bar here.
It's a whole.
I made a bar.
Whole bar. Well, it's
this guy knows his stuff.
This guy knows his stuff. Hey, we're so proud to bring you tonight, Matt Farah, a creator and host of the Smoking Fires. We are live here on Cigar Saturday, and Matty Rock's joining us from New Jersey there at Sandra's. Matt, where are you based?
Well, it's the Smoking Tire, Tom. You said fire, but it's okay because we're blazing fire. Tradecraft Farms.
Did I actually say fire?
You did, and it's okay because Tradecraft Farms is the official ganja of the Smoking Tire podcast. So since Matty Rock he sent me those nice cigars, but I don't really smoke cigars. I'm an ex-cigarette smoker, and so cigars are kind of tough for me unless it's like a circle of cigars. So I gave Matty Rock cigars to my dad. He liked them. Thank you. I really do appreciate that.
Pops again then.
My pops is what's up. So we're just gonna roll a fat cone and just go with that, if that's okay. Because it's
totally fun.
The smoking show.
Smoking show. You can do whatever you like, Matt. It's. I
mean, I'm not going to be the only one like not smoking on this show.
I'm pretty sure that we're smoking as well. That's right.
So what do? We just get wasted and discuss what we're getting wasted on. That's the premise of the show.
Would you like for that to be tonight for you?
I don't know. It's your show, Tom.
Well, we can do what you like here. I mean, this is we're gonna obviously keep it open. So as you're rolling, there is a particular varietal you're using.
Yeah, we're going with it's called the creme brulee.
Creme brulee,
an indica dominant hybrid. I've stopped smoking sativas because they give me fucking anxiety attacks.
Yes.
So when I was like 17, 18, it was like, what's the strongest shit you got? Like what weed most closely resembles cocaine? Give me that. And as I get older and I realize, why do I have anxiety all the time? I'm like, maybe I should start smoking indica because I already have a lot of natural energy and I don't really need more than that. And so, hang on.
Kids playing on the lawn when they weren't even there. Get off my lawn!
Right, and so now we blaze indicas and indica dominant hybrids, and I reached a pinnacle in my life this past week, in which I locked up a deal for 2021 with this company, Tradecraft Farms, which is I have a marijuana sponsor, and that's not like AA sponsor, like LeBron James sponsor. So life is really okay.
That's awesome, man. Well, congratulations on your new sponsor, and it's
thank you.
Great to have Matt Farah, creator and host of the Smoking Tire. Maybe some days the Smoking Fire, because where there is smoke, there is often fire. Sometimes there's a tire too, right?
Indeed. Well, it's a metaphorical smoking tire. It's like remember that website, The Smoking Gun, back in the day, where they had all the concert tour riders and the mug shots. Yeah. I used to fucking love that. I was so about that, and so. When naming stuff is hard, actually. It's really difficult skill to be able to name things well. And so I spent like 6 months coming up with names, and most of them were terrible. But eventually I was reading The Smoking Gun, and I landed on The Smoking Tire, which is a lovely double entendre. And the name of the show was born, and it stuck. I think it's a good name, actually.
It's such a good name, and you've done an amazing job growing it over the years. What did you started it how many years ago? I know you've been at it for a little while.
We started the Smoking Tire in 2009, but I made my first YouTube video in November of 2006, which was about 4 months after YouTube was launched.
Right.
So I'm an OG in the YouTube community.
Yeah, I feel you. We started Bourbon blog around on this end, on the whiskey end. A good 14, 15 years ago, and I'm trying to think what our oldest video on YouTube is, but we're proud to have been doing it for a long time too, and we're proud to actually be live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. So again, wherever you're watching from, make sure you are following us and sharing this. We're going to have a great conversation here on Bourbon.com live with Matt. And we got two Matts. It's actually I should be in the middle. I'd be between two Matts, but we got two Matts and one Tom. What's happening at Matty Rock?
I'm hanging in there, my brother.
Been
fun in New Jersey. 2 days ago, it was 63 degrees. Now like 23 degrees. So you went from like a heat wave to now my nuggets off. But I I can't bitch because we had a nor'easter come through. If that shit was cold, we'd be digging out of 2 feet of snow. So, I'll take it. You know, Mother Nature's on meth, which is fine. It's part of 2020, so I accept Mother Nature and her meth.
Today was a linen shirt day in California, in case you're wondering.
Yeah, thanks for the paint. much love, but can't complain. And we had to bust out some special smokes for today. Go a little Cuban action today.
Some nice Cubans there.
One of the Monte Limitadas 2019s that's not even out yet, so I probably shouldn't even be smoking it. So there's probably
pre-production cigars. Is that a thing?
No, they're out. They're not out to the general market just yet. They're released. Wow. These aren't the actual pre-things where they're testing labels, so they're out before the shops are selling them. So there's probably some people that are coming to look for me and my family now. But it's like, happy holidays. They'll leave me alone.
The flip game is strong with you.
I'll make sure your dad has some good stuff, and Tom, I'll send you out some more fun stuff. Matt, you got to let me know what he really likes.
He had a humidor full of just big. It was like you know, he likes the hits. He likes the Romeo y Julietas. He likes the Monte Cristos. He likes the Cohibas. He doesn't. He likes a cigar. He doesn't have that depth of exploration that you have in terms of trying new stuff. He really plays the hits. But you know, when I bring him stuff, the stuff you say, he did like that. Is there in 2020 in the global cigar economy, is a Cuban really still the best, or can you get equal or better elsewhere?
Well, it's funny what's happened in the world of Cuban sticks, and Sandra will probably walk by in a bit, and he'll even go into greater detail on that. The quality control of Cuban sticks has progressively gone down over the last couple of years. And on the other flip side of that is the availability to really find tobaccos globally. I mean, 180. Like, you can get some of the best stuff, some of the tobaccos that you get out of Nicaragua and the growing places. 15, 20 years ago, it was a struggle to get tobaccos out of Jalapa or Esteli or even Ometepe. No one even knew what Ometepe was. And now you're getting these fine tobaccos, and you're reading publications, you know, that typically that were placeholders of Cuban cigars coming all in the top 10, that these Nicaraguan cigars came swarming in. The quality control has been impeccable because, let's be honest, beyond just taste, it's wonderful if you have a Cuban cigar, but you can't smoke it because it's plugged or it wasn't packed correctly and it's canoeing all over the place in you. What I tell people, one of the best cigars you can ever smoke is still probably a Cuban cigar, but there's so many ones that aren't good because they plug and they're a mess because of their quality control. So Cuban cigars, when you get the right one, are still heavenly.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I've seen people, you know, like beer and wine and weed and, you know, all these other, you know, products that can be where you're farming and it's genetics, and that kind of stuff can now be transferred sort of globally with science. And you've got cross genetics, and I'm now talking about weed again, but a global marketplace.
I get to use a car reference. You're firing all on the right cylinders there because one for the Gipper. But that's true, because you look at when you do wrappers and stuff and everything else, you'll hear people go, I'm smoking an Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, not a Connecticut. Right. Here stateside in Connecticut, but it's an Ecuadorian Connecticut. And
interesting.
Yeah. And people throw around the Tom, you and I had a half an hour chat on Cameroon wrapper.
Yeah.
Cameroon wrapper from Cameroon. So Cameroon is the most expensive wrapper you could buy, easily 4 to 5 times as much as any other wrapper. And the taste that you get and the complexity that you get on it is the nuttiness of it, subtle notes in it, the little bit of citrus hints. When you have a Cameroon wrapper, it doesn't taste like any other origin of Cameroon, even though legally, since it is of Cameroon seed, you can call it that. Just like, you hear everybody who's pretending to sell Cuban cigars go, this is made with Cuban seed Piloto. That's pretty sure if I made a cigar in Hoboken, New Jersey, and I look at you like, mi hermano, Piloto de Cubano, muy bueno. Meanwhile, people are like, are you sure this isn't called Fumar? Yeah. I'm like, maybe. I'm just telling. So,
you know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of the Iranian pistachios, which the pistachios in Iran were so much better than everywhere else in the world. it really caused some geopolitical issues in the 1980s, which now continue. And we have guys like the Resnicks, the wonderful company here in California, who are like the biggest scumbags on the planet, farming these incredibly high margin pistachios, but they're still not as good as the actual shit that you get in the Middle East from Iran, which is embargoed here. You can't get Iranian pistachios at all in America. If you could, people would never buy the California garbage.
They wouldn't go for them. Now, do you find ways of actually tracking them down, getting somebody that'll ship you some? How do you find some?
I don't give a shit that much, but when I go to Europe, I look for them. You can buy buy them in other places that's not America. So I recommend if you're a fan of pistachios in general, next time you're traveling to somewhere that's not America, look for some pistachios and see if they come from Iran, and they might be really, really fucking delicious. Yeah. Random tidbit of the day.
Random tidbit. No, I like it. And so sometimes we'll think about it's cigar embargoes, but it's not just the cigar and the tobacco. It's other things like pistachios, isn't it?
Oh, there's got to be tons of them. I mean, I happen to know pistachios because I listened to a fucking podcast on it. It drove me insane, but I don't know. Not really. If Carl was here today, he could tell you probably 10, 12 other products that are affected just like this.
Right.
Look about you talk about what you do, Tom. Look at when you talk about soil and soil conditions.
Yes.
You go somewhere in Nicaragua, the tobacco that you're going to get from Esteli doesn't taste like the tobacco from Ometepe, and the Ometepe doesn't taste like what you get from Jalapa. So it's all very different. So the elemental parts of it, I mean, it's like a vineyard. Look at all the vineyards you have out where you are, Matt, throughout California.
Yeah.
You have them a couple miles apart from each other. You're going to produce very different tastes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look, 98 could win 10 gold medals, and the 97 everyone could say is a dog. It did not produce the taste that you were looking for.
And
that happens with cars too.
Yeah. It's the origins. It's the origins and the grains. I mean, there's so many things that I get, say, on a New York bourbon, if it's 100% or nearly 100% New York grain, to me that tastes different than the Kentucky grains. I mean, there's this certain earthy sort of, and I've said waxy before. It has this sort of extra layer of something on it that I really actually like on bourbons like Kings County from Brooklyn and Hudson and some of the others.
Have you fucked with the Taconic Distillery bourbon?
I know a little bit about them. Are you a fan?
I am. That is probably my favorite, like $50 drinkable bottle right now. You can only get it in New York, as far as I know. You definitely can't get it in California. But I know one of the people who's involved in that distillery. My dad and I do skeet and quail shooting, real white guy shit, and it is the whitest of activities. We wear a lot of plaids and olives.
we need to get Taconic on Bourbon Blog Live. I want to interview them. I actually, someone just mentioned them earlier today because there are some just really wonderful distilleries in New York and upstate. This one being in
Hudson Valley rules. What a great place.
No, I'm glad you're a fan of them. Now you're in whereabouts in California are you yourself?
Well, I'm in Venice Beach, California, in LA. But I grew up in Westchester County, New York.
Yeah.
And last year I had my wedding in Hudson, New York.
Nice.
And so we had all this Hudson Valley local shit. And we served cases of Taconic at my wedding, and we made like craft cocktails with it. It was awesome. It was awesome. I love Hudson. What a cool town.
Yeah.
I just read. I read yesterday. Kingston, New York, has the highest increase in property values in the last 12 months of anywhere in the country.
Wow.
Which is amazing. I mean, dude, the Hudson Valley is going to be the fucking jam in 5 years.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be like the New York Riviera.
Yep.
Now, what are you sipping on there? What kind of whiskey are you drinking there? Is that a
I brought a few. I brought a selection for you guys. So I'll angle down to my bar. Wow. So we've got.
I see one of my favorites already.
So this guy right here, Montgomery American Single Malt Whiskey. This was given to me by a fan in Whitefish, Montana. This is the only bottle that I've ever seen. I had no idea if it was any good, but I had the first glass of it. I found it quite delightful. I have no idea what it costs, but it tastes pretty nice. So that I've got that, and then I've got the WhistlePig 15, always a classic. Yeah. And then I've got the Four Roses single barrel.
Love that.
And I've got more at my shop. I've got a big liquor locker, but this is all I have at the house. Hola.
Good to see you, Sanj.
How are you?
Good to see you. Happy holidays to you, Sanj. Things going well for you?
You.
Now, Matt, you talk about a guy to talk watches with offline. This guy.
What's he wearing? What's he wearing? Let's go heads up right now. What's he wearing? What do you got?
All right, I don't have anything. Actually, I came in a hurry and I forgot. That's right.
I'm keeping my mouth shut because I'm wearing a fucking swatch.
That's dope. I was gonna go that way for you. I was gonna go because I asked Matty Rock earlier tonight on text. I was like, "What kind of show is this? Is this like a baller show or is this like a man of the people show?" And he thought I meant like subject matter. What I was subtly asking was, "What watch do I wear?" I settled on the Royal Oak because I figured it was not a time to be subtle on this show.
Yeah.
We enjoy everyone and all subtleties and all ways to communicate.
But I have some cheap watches too that I really enjoy and that are in my regular rotation. And Matty Rock knows that. I'm a Seiko enthusiast.
We were talking about we were in town, a Seiko turtle. And I mean, gorgeous friggin' watch. Beat the shit out of it. Doesn't cost you the farm. And that was the time I had my King Seiko. And honestly, you know me, I can't get to the other level that these guys get. So my King Seiko, I stroke like, who's my loose daddy's little baby?
I get a lot of compliments on my turtles. I have a guy here in LA. I'll plug him. Shadow Watchmaker on Instagram. He's great. And I have him modify my turtle. I've got like 4 or 5 turtles that I knock around with. I got a gold one and a green one and a blue. I just got a gray one, and they're all modified. And some of them are fake aged, like fake patina. Yep. And I wouldn't do this on a Rolex, but like it's a fucking Seiko, whatever. Who cares? So I mean, not. It's just originality matters not. So play. It's the Ford Mustang of watches. It's the Camaro or the Subaru WRX. It's the kind of thing you buy and then make your own once you get it home. And so, yeah, I've got a bunch of different turtles. I got fun straps for them. I got fun, like different dials and different crystals. One of them looks 40 years old and one of them looks futuristic. And yeah, they're fun. Seiko is fun as fuck. And I fuck with a Seiko, like probably, I don't know, a day or two a week. I fuck with a Seiko. Day or two a week. I fuck with a Rolly. And then I have an oddball. And then usually Sunday is baller watch day. This one's like a disco ball for a steel watch. I mean, look at that. That's unbelievable. That bracelet, that's the best.
That is really nice.
This is what I would call. This is my Grail watch. I don't desire anything else really beyond this in watch world. It's not to say I don't have things beyond this in watch world. I have a problem.
So now, because you are a fan of, well, first of all, rye whiskeys. I'll show you something in a moment. I'm a big fan. Have you had Peerless Rye or Peerless Bourbon, Matt?
No,
the Peerless?
I haven't. What is that about?
It's one I really like on this show, pairing with cigars. They make a wonderful rye. It's a company that used to exist pre-Prohibition, but most distilleries, of course, pre-Prohibition. They all fell by the wayside. The great-great-grandson brought this back to Kentucky a few years ago. Amazing bourbons, amazing ryes. I'm actually trying one of their single barrels right now. It's called the Blood Orange Old Fashioned Single Barrel Bourbon because it has sort of the blood orange old fashioned notes on it. But it's such
available nationwide. Can I get it in California?
You can get it in California. I can connect you.
I'll check. I need to connect to get it. I didn't realize.
Well, you may.
You know what's hilarious, dude? If you told me at 18 years old that I would need to connect to get bourbon and that somebody would pay me to smoke their brand of weed publicly, well, I'd be like, yeah, you're living in fucking backwards land.
Yeah.
I need a connection. I need connect to buy booze and watches, things that are totally legal and in no short supply whatsoever. Hilarious.
I want to make sure you can. Sometimes it's a little tougher to find. I just want to make sure I connect you. But I happen to also have close to me because I saw what you were showing me. Close to me because I had it on this table. the 15-year-old WhistlePig as
15, yeah, that's what I got. The 15.
So I love the 15 WhistlePig, and I'm going to have to here with you in a moment.
To them, I pitched to WhistlePig. They were very nice to me.
Nice.
A friend of mine got this event. My friend Rob Ferretti puts on this event called Adventure Drives. It's like a luxury road trip. It's like people who used to do gumball and shit, but are tired of that level of insanity and want a road trip that they could do with their lady now. So you know what I mean? So there's no stickers on the cars. The hotels are really nice. The restaurants are really nice. Instead of renting out the club, you know, it's a fire pit and a bottle of WhistlePig. It's that kind of thing, you know? So we've been doing that, and WhistlePig sponsored their event. And there was just like, dude, there was like fucking 10 cases of this 15-year shit. I mean, I didn't realize how much it cost until later. I was like, oh, cool, WhistlePig. And I was like, oh my God, that's $300 a bottle.
Nice bottle, yeah.
You're drinking it like water.
That's the way you should do it if you have cases around you. That's what you should do.
It's a little worse because there were actually 11 cases. One made it to his car, so saying 10 cases.
Well, I went home.
You left some.
Finish it. I went home with a case. And then after that, I tried to pitch WhistlePig as a smoking tire sponsor. And they pretty much offered to give me all the booze I wanted, but they didn't want to, like, you know, pay money, which was honestly, like, that's great. I didn't think it would even get that far, but ultimately, when it came to substances and drugs that we wanted to promote, we really wanted to be paid. Yeah. Trade Craft Farms is the official weed of the Smoking Tire podcast.
Tell them again, Trade Craft.
They're in LA.
They're in LA. Trade Craft.
Yeah. They're in LA. If you're in California, you can buy it anywhere in California. They're statewide. They're very, very good people.
Very good. Where was the party that the WhistlePig was at? Where was that again?
The what?
The WhistlePig party, or where was that again? You had.
It's called Adventure Drive. So it's a luxury road trip over like a week, and you go from, you know, place to place. So we did it this past summer, and it was very interesting to do it during COVID. Obviously, there was a lot of modifications that had to be done, but we've done it in Europe, but before we've done it before that in other places. But so it was Seattle, Portland, Bend, Spokane, Whitefish. Somewhere I'm blanking on, and then Jackson Hole. It was lovely. The American West, and I did in a Lamborghini Urus, which is the SUV Lamborghini, which you probably don't want to buy, you know, because it's like a little. It's like, oh, you got like that Lambo, not like the good one. But I mean, if you were gonna put 3,700 miles on theirs, that is okay. And you can read my story. I wrote about 3,500 words for Road and Track, which if you Google Road and Track Lamborghini Urus or Matt Farah Lamborghini Urus, you will find my story and my video with that car. Yeah.
Nice. And the market for that car, is it usually someone that already has a Lamborghini that wants?
You know, it's actually
who is the market for that car?
You're a very astute gentleman, Tom.
Thank you.
We like to say that it's so that everybody knows you have a Lamborghini in places where you wouldn't want to drive a Lamborghini. That's what it's really for. Because fundamentally, it's a very fast Audi, right? It's not really a Lamborghini. They put elements of what you would call the brand DNA into the car, but really what you're talking about is a very fast Audi, not some bespoke platform, you know, V12 supercar, right? And that's okay, because that's how this business, works. And the fact of the matter is, love it or hate it, that vehicle doubled Lamborghini's sales volume in 1 year. They went from 3,500 cars a year to 7,000 cars a year because of that. So they're literally following the Porsche model by about 15 years. So remember, in 2003, Porsche made two cars, the Boxster and the 911. And then they came out with the Cayenne, became their best-selling car. And then they came out with the Panamera, became their best-selling car. And then they came out with the Macan, became their best-selling car. So Lamborghini is doing exactly the same thing. Two cars, Aventador and Huracan, and now they're going to do the SUV. Then there may be a sedan or a smaller crossover. I mean, who knows? But platform sharing, that's what it's about. It's about platform sharing.
So it's not for someone like me. I don't think I'm the market in my Honda Pilot. Sorry, hold on. I gotta cross that list.
Look, I'm not the market either, man. I don't. My newest car is a 2003. All my cars are 86, 87, 88, 91, 03. Those are my cars.
We get to go for the word modifications, and probably those mods are probably stuff that people go home and dream about. I have to unfortunately say my Honda Pilot's still stock. I'm not feeling good about myself.
If I had a Honda Pilot, I'd probably leave it stock myself. You know.
What are you? Are there releases you're really looking forward to, or that you're getting excited about for the next year, as far as
new cars?
Any type of cars, whether it's on the Lamborghini level or other.
No, I mean, on the Lamborghini level, actually, no. There's not really anything new. New Bronco is very exciting. I just booked that at the end of January to drive, which is very exciting. I also booked a week, in my job with the smoking tire. The perk, I mean, really the only perk, because the making money at this job is not a given. A lot of people do the job. Very few people make real money at it. You have to be very creative and also work your fucking balls off if you want to make really, really, really good money doing this. So having said that, you can make good money, but it's very hard. The real perk is what they call press cars, which are what they sound like, cars for the press. So when you're an automotive journalist who is someone to be taken seriously, and it's a gray area where that happens, the not serious versus serious, that's a whole other story. But then all of a sudden, if you are in a major city in America, there is a fleet of cars available for you to drive from pretty much every manufacturer. And you check them out like library books, and you drive them, and then you give them back. And that's how the business kind of works. And it's fucking awesome. It's literally, I can't say enough good things about how great it is to be in that club. You think it's nice to get the call when the new Submariner comes in? That ain't got shit on this fucking club. This is the club. So right now I have a M2 CS in the driveway right now, which is extremely sick. And I give it back on Monday, and I get a Alpina XB7 BMW. You tend to, when you get the guy on the phone or gal who is the PR person for a specific manufacturer, usually you call with the intent to book one car, and then it becomes kind of a, hey, while I've got you on the phone, what else is around? And then so you see in my videos, there's streaks sometimes where I'll drive 3 or 4 cars in a row from one manufacturer. That's because it took me one phone call to book all of those. and time is money.
I'm the guy who has a hard time ordering what I want on my pizza, and they're already
right.
Dude, you want sausage or not? This guy, I'll take these 3. I'm like, is the anchovies extra for you? Yes, Matt, it is.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a good perk of the year. I forgot why I was talking about press cars. Oh, new things I have booked.
New things.
I also have I've got a week in the Ford, the Mach-E, the electric Ford, which I'm actually very excited to drive. It looks really nice.
Right.
People have said good things. I have the new Land Rover Defender coming in. It's random that there's all trucks and crossovers. I just had a run of like a dozen sports cars. So it's random that it's a lot of trucks and crossovers that are coming right now. But it's just that time of the year as well, right? The winter, it's not really. Even though sports cars are available year-round here, there's just more other stuff. So anyway, that's exciting. But like this past year, I was really into Taycan, the electric Porsche. And look, I'm not like I am. I mean, look, I'm an environmentalist on a certain level. I'm a gearhead as well. I believe in efficiency typically results in power. I mean, the fact that the cars that we have right now are as fast as they are, that's because of fuel economy regulations. That's not because of like racing. That's because, you know what I mean? Like the reason that a supercar in 1994 had 500 horsepower and now it has 1,000 horsepower or 1,200 horsepower, that's because of fuel economy regulations. Like that's because of like turbocharger technology, direct injection technology, stuff like that. Like that's actually that type of technology anything that can be used to make a car more efficient can also be used to make it go faster. And so that is a very interesting thing about cars and efficiency. And so I think that what I'd like to see less of is just the insane chasing of horsepower and performance, because we're now at the position where anybody with $1,500 a month can just get 800 horsepower with no other qualifications at all. You don't need a racing license. You don't have to go to a school. Like, you can literally buy a 10-second car for like $72,000. You know, it's like, what the fuck? Like, are you kidding me? Like, you know, and if you've got a little more money, you know, not that we're all super Rico Suave, but you know, if you've got enough money to get into like a McLaren, I mean, you're basically buying like an LMP car on the street. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous levels of performance that the average person just has no real clue about. And the Venn diagram of skills involved in controlling an incredibly high performance car at the limit and skills involved in earning $10 million, like, those don't intersect. Those are completely separate skill sets. They have nothing to do with each other. And someone who's really good at one is often fucking terrible at the other one. You know, you know, the number of bad millionaire drivers and rich racing drivers. You know what I mean? It's like
you're not wrong. You know where I live, and it's the truth. So on 17 North, you got the McLaren dealer, the Lamborghini dealer, but you just go a couple miles from all those, like, that's an expensive bender. Holy shit. I think you were here when they opened up the new McLaren dealer out on 17. And I'll tell you, in about a month and a half of driving, you saw two of them on the road. I was like, oh.
Well, it's very funny to, like, when you put a dealer on a road like that, where you can just pull out of the driveway and just immediately go full throttle, you're just going to see just crash. I mean, it really started happening with Teslas. I mean, that level of performance got this, and from specifically the 0 to 100.
Yeah,
that the availability of that from a Tesla. And the people who would just go, oh yeah, just give me the most expensive Tesla, not really understanding what that meant.
Serious performance, yeah.
Yeah, and they go, and you know, look, I like Tesla vehicles. I think Tesla, the company, is incredibly irresponsible in a million different ways. And the idea that you can buy this like 10 to 10 second quarter mile silent dragster that has a full computer right here with no restrictions on you can just at all, just while you're driving. So
you can just do that.
My last shop was right across the street from the Tesla authorized body shop in LA. So much front end damage, so much just trucks full of bumpers and headlights and people just driving them into things. I mean, it was extraordinary, absolutely extraordinary.
So what you said it better a while ago, right? You're buying a car from a software company, not an automotive company. And we had that conversation about a year ago.
Yeah.
And is that
things?
I don't want my car companies making like memes in their cars. Memes. Like I you know what I mean? Like I would like my car companies, you know, setting like endurance racing records, you know, and like setting new highs in quality and safety and stuff like that. I don't really need the memes. I'm okay without that.
Now, is that part of what you don't like about Tesla? What is the part of Tesla you don't like?
Well, that they sell something called full self-driving that does no such thing, first off, and they charge a lot of money for that.
It's not completely full self-driving yet. That's right.
Most certainly not.
Not yet.
And
right.
Not even close. And so that to me is a real safety issue. To me, there's a real messy gray area in between human-driven vehicles and fully computer-driven vehicles. Right. If we could instantly flip a switch and make every car on the road autonomous, there would probably be a drastic reduction in crashes because autonomous cars can easily communicate with other autonomous cars. In theory, right? Provided there was some sort of consistent language for them to communicate, which there would be, because that would be in everybody's benefit, right? But autonomous cars and human-driven cars cannot effectively communicate with each other, and the presumed. There's a lot of problems with autonomous cars. The biggest one is the presumed inevitability of autonomous cars. People are just like, this is going to be the future. And we just go, okay, yes, it is, because I saw it in some fucking movie once that they had autonomous cars. And so that's going to be the future. And then that assumed inevitability drives 100% of the development costs, because assuming it's inevitable means the first person to get there wins. And so that will justify unlimited development costs indefinitely, which is just like, we could decide right now that cars didn't need to be autonomous and shouldn't be autonomous, and we could find other ways to make our roads safer. But the truth is, I believe, is that people don't really care about road safety. They care about having a shiny new toy. They care about actually being able to text and do other bullshit on their commute other than drive. And they like a wow thing, and they like feeling like they're in the future now, right? Especially because a lot of other elements of the future are more like the Biff Tannen aspects of Back to the Future 2, and not the
Terminator, and the machines get pissed off, like, let's kill everyone in our. No, I watched Terminator movies.
But listen, like the problem with AVs is it's all sold against a backdrop of reducing road fatalities. Okay, who the fuck is going to argue that? Who's going to be like, no, I don't want to reduce deaths on the highway? But the problem is, there are a million other proven ways to reduce road fatalities on the highway that are being used in other countries right now that do not require inventing a completely new fucking technology and unleashing it on the public. Dude, I ride my motorcycle on these fucking roads. I've tested every one of these semi-driver's assist systems, Tesla, Cadillac, none of them make it fucking 5 minutes before doing something scary. And so that is a really sloppy, and it's just good enough, just enough of the time that you will easily be distracted by something else very quickly. It's happened to everybody I know. And furthermore, and then we can move on. But lastly, humans are really, really bad at monitoring a thing and waiting for something to go wrong and then saving it, right? We're really bad at that task. What we're really good at is hand-eye coordination. Driving. We're really good at driving. Humans are good at driving, actually. We're just easily distracted by our phones. So if you give people, instead of giving them the role of driver, you give them the role of machine monitor, you're now having humans do something that humans are really bad at. And it's easy to get distracted. And then here's what happens, especially with Tesla, because Tesla is a shitbaggy company. If you are in a Tesla that is under full self-driving mode, okay, it's driving, you're fucking texting your side piece on your phone, right? You're watching a movie on your phone. Whatever you're doing, you're not paying the fuck attention. All of a sudden, the Tesla does something that's super shady and is about to have a crash. Okay? What do? Well, you grab the wheel or hit the pedals, or you try to avert this crash, right?
Right.
You crash anyway. Now, it's your fault, not the cars, because you took over and you were driving.
Right.
That's how their plan is written. If you don't take over and you have a crash, it's your fault because you weren't monitoring the system. So they're selling this thing that's supposed to fucking safely get you in your 4,000-pound car down the road at any speed. It's not limited. You can set it at 110 miles an hour if you want. Right. And that is, you know what I mean? And that's supposed to be, but they wash their hands of all liability. So
addictive texting, right? You want to really angry, tell someone to go fuck themselves, and they want to go duck themselves. At the end of the your fault. You didn't check. It says duck instead of fuck. And that anger that you so vehemently wanted to put on something, it's gone. The moment's gone. It's your fault. Yeah.
So anyway, that's why this is a dangerous gray area, because autonomy will happen when you get in the car, you type in a destination or speak a destination, you don't do anything. And if that car gets in a crash, it's the manufacturer's fault, not yours. That's when a car is autonomous.
When do you think we will see that happen, if ever? If you had to guess.
Possibly not in our lifetimes. Well, where I could see it is in geo-fenced areas, smaller communities where self-driven cars are barred from a certain area and only these AVs can interact with each other because they're actually okay at that. And in the next 10 to 15 years, they'll probably be pretty good enough at that to be a pretty solid like neighborhood shuttle in a planned community of some kind. You know what I mean? Right. And they have specific and righteous uses such as that. But the problem I have with that is if what you want is an AV shuttle in a planned community, like all you've done is eliminated someone's job. Like you haven't done any, like it's not like there's a problem of community shuttle drivers crashing and running people over. All you've done is put a guy out of work with this whole technology. All it's done is put a few people out of work, which to me is not a righteous cause.
Right. You know what I love? I love we're talking about cars and self-driving cars on Bourbon Blog. It seems it seems to be appropriate in some ways. Though, but what's really fun is though we're talking about the future of cars. Someone's asking. We were watching a video last night on flying cars. What do you think of those flying cars? What do you think about these? Okay, so before I will answer that, but real quick, what interests me about the autonomous cars and stuff is actually not the technology; it's actually the ethical dilemmas, and that I think is the most interesting and least explored aspect of it. Silicon Valley assumes that technology should march forward no matter what, and look where that got us with social media. Now, flying cars are pretty dumb. Here's why: it takes. Think about how much noise it takes to get a drone in the air. Think about how much noise it takes to get a helicopter or an airplane in the air. Think about what a traffic jam in the air would sound like. There is virtually no way to generate enough power to make a 2,000-pound car lift without making it sound an awful lot like a goddamn airplane or a helicopter. It'd be loud, wouldn't it? Yeah.
And nobody wants the reality of these fucking things flying over their house.
Car, I find that very soothing. Just saying.
I think what we'll see is, you know how you see personal submarines attached to yachts once in a while? You ever see shit like that in the fucking magazines? What you'll see is a drone that will seat two people and that will see it on a deck of a yacht, and people will fucking fly it around the Caribbean and shit as a thing on their yacht instead of like a helicopter. I think that's what we might see. I don't think there's who the fuck needs a flying car? I mean, when do a car and an airplane really need to serve the exact same purpose?
Have you seen any in action yourself?
The practicality of it is probably close to nothing. That's the cool thing is like, I was going to burn this pile of money, but this is way fucking cooler kind of thing, right?
Between car, helicopter, airplane, and boat, and we can get places like real efficiently.
Oh, absolutely.
That jetpack on eBay now, that kind of made me.
Have you guys heard about the mysterious LA jetpacker? This is a big story in LA. Is it made in East?
Yeah, tell us.
Fucking airline pilots at LAX are reporting a dude flying around on a jetpack. Wow. And 4 or 5 different airline pilots have seen this guy and said something about it. And someone this past week got what is allegedly a photo of a dude in a jetpack flying around. It's G as fuck, if you ask me. Like, knock yourself out. Have a good time.
Now, I read you are a fan of the DeLorean. You like the DeLoreans, I see.
Well, yeah, I am. I had a DeLorean. The DeLorean was, when I was a child, the car that made me love cars. My dad, when he brought me home an issue of Car and Driver, it had the DeLorean on the cover. and I saw the door, and I was like, oh, a car could be. I didn't realize they were kind of shitty when I was 5, but I just saw stainless steel and a beautiful shape and gullwing doors, and I thought, wow, that's very special. And so when it, I had a Mustang in high school. I got a Corvette after that, but I did, but when it came time to buy, my first like special car, it was like my 30th or 31st birthday. I think my 31st birthday. I went out and I got myself a DeLorean, and it was a barn find. I got it restored by DMC. It was beautifully restored, and it was very low mileage. I think it had 2,500 miles on it when I bought it, and it didn't drive so great. It was not what you'd call a driver's car.
Like 90, like a 90 horsepower Volkswagen engine.
No, it was no. So from the factory, it was 140 horsepower. And when DMC restored mine, they did what they called their Stage 2 package, which was a variety of hot rod and upgrades that yielded about 225 horsepower. It sounded really nice, actually. It sounded an awful lot like a Ferrari Dino, which is a lovely sound. It was really cool. And it was a beautiful car. And you know what's great about it? If you are a little bit of an introvert and you don't want to get a dog, get a DeLorean. Because the car world is interesting. Your car is like an outfit a little bit, especially where I live in Los Angeles. And so, when I had a DeLorean, fucking everybody wanted to talk to me. Everybody. And a lot of it was like corny Back to the Future shit, and I didn't have the patience for it, and that's part of why I sold the car. I love Back to the Future so much.
Oh yeah.
But I had to really separate my Back to the Future and my DeLorean. It was like a fucking nightmare. But come on, that thing go 88, like eat a fucking dick, homie. But women loved it. It was really, really, and my wife drives a van, a Mitsubishi Delica, which is a van that it was imported from Japan. It's right-hand drive. It's a cab over van. Like, remember the Toyota space vans from like the 80s? It's that, but a Mitsubishi, and it's 4x4 and mid-engine and turbo diesel, like a Volkswagen Westphalia, but it's Japanese. It's amazing, and it's the most friendly vehicle you'll ever fucking see. People have absolutely no idea what to make of it, and so she meets people at every gas station, and she could have a million friends if she wanted to, And so you could drive a really interesting, fun car and make a lot of friends like that. But unfortunately, the DeLorean looks a lot better than it drives. If I had unlimited space, at the time, I would have happily kept it for the rest of my life and driven it 3 times a year. I did not have unlimited space, and I had to sell it for space reasons and to buy other shit. So, yeah, it's not around anymore. But it was cool for a minute.
And you can still find those. I've seen them all used. You can still find those. Right?
Oh yeah, they're all over, and they're all over, and they went up a little bit. I think so peak DeLorean was 2015, right? Where the future in Back to the Future movie. So I bought mine in 2014 and sold it in the beginning of 2016 at what I think was probably a peak DeLorean price, and I did pretty well on it actually. My old man, who was an extreme rock star of a businessman, and a very savvy investor and a really, really smart guy when it comes to business. And I'm not that guy, but he was impressed that I was able to turn an 18% profit on a DeLorean in 2 years. I was like, all right, yeah, here we go. Yeah, it was all right.
Stock.
It was okay.
Matt, look, I heard
you know what?
18%.
Yeah. Tom, where are you at?
So I am on the border of Indiana and Kentucky. That's where I'm.
Wow.
Wow.
That makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
A lot of the bourbon is made, and we're all some great places. And I want to tell everybody, if you're a fan of what you're hearing now, you probably have already heard of Smoking Tire, but if you haven't, you're not subscribed, subscribe to the smokingtire.com podcast. You got great videos up there too. You're what's it been like to produce content during the pandemic for you? How has this changed the game of what you do the last 10 months?
I'm very lucky. First off, none of my family's been sick, and really we haven't We haven't really had any COVID in my little community. The benefit of only having 4 friends and living on the opposite coast. Everyone I know, I don't really know anyone really from LA. Everyone I know is from somewhere else. So what's really sucked for all of us is we really haven't seen our parents. But because we don't see our parents, regularly, it's sort of not. It's not that we haven't been extremely cautious. We have, but still, we work with a very small group of people. Is all I'm trying to say. In the beginning, it was completely fucked. All the advertisers pulled their money away. All the car companies canceled all the loans. It was completely fucked. We were very worried, and then it started to come back. And then, as businesses, they were dealing with, when people are stuck at home, they really absorb a lot of content, and we thought the podcast, because people weren't commuting, they wouldn't listen to podcasts. Well, now they're listening to it while they're fucking building their daughter a playhouse at home or whatever it is, and people were still consuming content and consuming it online. And so once we got past, May, really, beginning of May, middle of May. So we had 8 weeks that were just horrible. and actually, we finished the year, up quite a bit from last year. We're very fortunate. We were able to capitalize on the opportunity, and I don't mean that in a bad way at all. I mean, I'm more than sympathetic to anyone who's suffered. The restaurant people, the bar people. I mean, it's a nightmare, especially, in California. Like, is it right to close? Is it wrong to close? Like, I don't know. It seems like probably it was, but like, you got to help people out too. If you're closing, like, and so I'm so fortunate that my little shop didn't have to close. My business, my media business didn't have to close. I didn't have to take any loans, which was nice. I don't like taking loans I don't need. So that's good. I'm sure those loans helped a lot of people, but I didn't need any, which was great. But and when they figured out how to get us cars again, they got us cars again. And as it turns out, one of the I bet the fucking bourbon business is like off the goddamn chain right now. I mean, it's got to be insane. The business I'm in, which is collector cars and collector watches, is off the fucking chain. I mean, the I don't know about the watch factories shutting down. The fact that AP and Patek and Rolex shut down their factories for 8 months, the used fucking Rolex market is like 8,000% up. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's all silly, and people are getting so used to shopping at home that the online car auction sites, people are paying fucking ridiculous money for cars. They're sitting at home, they're not traveling, they're not going out in restaurants and drinking and whatever. So they got a little extra cash. I mean, some of them, I realize other people are really suffering, but there's some people who are suffering a little less. They're just stuck at home. They're not suffering financially. Maybe they're suffering mentally, like me. but collector cars are way up. Collector watches are way up. Indulgence items. When the stock market gets volatile, buying a vintage Ferrari might not be such a bad idea. Maybe it goes up, maybe it goes down, but it'll probably never be worth zero. And in the meantime, I'll fuck around with a vintage Ferrari, And so, if you like driving, where I live in California, we've got some of the best roads in the world.
Right.
Driving your old car it's a nice thing to do by yourself. Driving to a hike in the mountains, that's a nice thing to do away from people. So the car boom in California has been pretty wild. It's been a lot. There's been a lot. Old cars, buying, my other business, my other job is West Side Collector Car Storage. So where I live on the west side of LA, there's not a lot of places to park a nice car. People could have a $5 million townhouse on the beach, 2-car garage, no driveway. If you're a successful couple, where does your fun car go? Well, maybe with me. And so, we opened in September 1st of 2020. And we've got 75 cars in the building after, 4 months. during a period of economic downturn. So people are clearly fucking with automobiles right now, you know, and
so
watches.
The new business, tell us about that. What is it?
You know, YouTube and the gig economy, online media is like a casino. You can be up, you can be down, but you don't actually win until you take your money and leave and you buy something with it. Like that's when you win, actually. When you're sitting there with a pile of money, you know, there's people who I see that are really making money hand over fist on YouTube, and God bless them, they're doing well, and I like to see it. I don't see YouTube as a competition. I see it as there's enough eyeballs in the world for everybody. Yeah, if you're doing something awesome, like I want to see you succeed. Like I'm not trying to tear too many people down, you know, unless you are a dick to me or something. But the bottom line is you don't, if you're so heavily invested in that, like YouTube kind of owns you. You know, the algorithm can change or whatever. Like, so what's important is taking that success and going elsewhere into something you control. For some, maybe it's merchandise, maybe it's a podcast where you're selling ads, maybe it's whatever. For me, I built a 110 car collector car storage facility in Playa Vista, California, right across the street from Google and the Clippers practice building and Facebook and a few other cool people. We've got 75 cars in there now, and I hope to have, I don't know, 5 or 6 of these things eventually, but we've got an extremely premium building that is like nothing anyone's ever seen, and I know that for certain because I'm the first person to ever build what we built. We've got 18 indoor quad stackers, which is quite a sight, and it's a beautiful place to go to work, and got a lot of happy customers and a really eclectic group of cars, and a lot of female car enthusiasts storing cars with us, which makes me very happy. It's disproportionate female compared to, like, say, the audience in my videos, which is like 98% men. You know, compared to that, we're about 30% female at WCCS for membership. And, you know, and you know, brick and mortar for certain things it's a forever thing, you know, and you fill it up and you collect some checks, and it's not supposed to be very hard.
Congrats, bro.
You got to come see it when you guys travel west. And I encourage everyone. There's photos on our website.
Yep.
We got beautiful cars in the racks, and I mean it's a really amazing thing. We call it the main room. We call it the cathedral room because it's 45 feet tall and cars are stacked to the ceiling, and light really comes in a very beautiful way. It's incredibly photogenic, and so. And we do free LAX pickups. So a lot of our clients are from out of town, you know, people who come to LA for business or come to LA to see family. And while they're here, they'd rather drive their own car than a rental car. So instead of a fucking Hertz whatever, you know, they leave a GT3 with me and they drive something hot while they're in town, or they leave an old E30 with me and they drive something classic while they're in town. And you know, it's not a cheap place to keep your car, but you know, we do free airport pickup and stuff like that. And so it's not necessarily a value proposition, but you know, if you came to town and used our services, it would definitely even itself out. So brick and mortar, you know, we're gonna keep it kind of old school, keep it kind of conservative, and hopefully, you know, become a landlord, you know, and that will allow me the flexibility to do the stories that are the most interesting and not the stories that are the most profitable. You know, that's, I think, that's what everyone's goal really, I don't want to say should be, because other people can have their own goals, but anyone who does something creative, I just think wants the ability to do it without having to worry too much about the money on the back end, because that's shitty. So we're trying to not do that.
Well done with that. We put the website up there, wccs.com, to see the picture.
Premium domain name.
And that is WC. Did somebody else that with other letters have that? How'd you go about tracking that one down?
Money. It's just money. You have to buy it. It
wasn't money. Like the West Side something else.
No. a four-letter domain name that starts with a W. You know, because you got, you know, TV stations and radio stations would want that, you know. So that was a premium one, but actually I think it worked because when I started, it was written out. It was westsidecollectorcarstorage.com, and it was just like, oh my God, oh, I gotta explain this bullshit.
People were stroking it before they typed it in.
It was just too many goddamn letters. And I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it was an expensive domain name, but in the grand scheme of things, it was really, really worthwhile. Just maybe in my own like carpal tunnels.
Yeah, what's wrong? Like times hurts.
Yo, speaking of which, can I let me tell you, praise be, iPhone Mini.
Yeah.
Look at this. Look at my meat fucking hand around this phone. This is the greatest. I'm so excited about this. Because I've had tendinitis in both my arms from driving and from fucking phone use. And the fact that I can have a small phone, I don't need like IMAX movies on my phone. I just want something that fits in my pocket and that I can hold it with one hand. And I'm so happy. It's the best. It's the best ever.
I tell you, I can't wait to get out there. I'm actually in LA, Southern California, at least a couple months out of the year, usually hosting whiskey tastings in LA. And
really?
So I'm out there a lot. So next time I'm out there, hopefully in 2021 when things are better.
Can we have one at Westside Collector Car Storage?
I would love that.
In the cathedral room?
Do there. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. Let's do that.
We can get like you said, 10 or 11 cases of that 15-year-old.
We can do cigars too, because in the main room, what we have is a 36,000 cubic feet per minute exhaust fan system. Nice. I can run 10 cars at a time indoors, which is really cool.
Baby, we're in.
That'd be fun.
Do it.
I will roll 7 cones.
Love it, and so many good whiskeys being made in California too. It's a lot of great whiskeys out there.
Tom, have you fucked with that? Oh, God damn it. What's it called? Lost Spirits?
I know those guys. Yeah, I've been to their distillery. Yeah.
They're fucking Willy Wonka-ass distillery.
Yes, have you
been in that place?
Been in that experience?
Yeah, I have. It was amazing. I found it very interesting. Except, and I thought their philosophy on not watering down their product was generous.
Yeah,
they were all we're not going to water it down, and you want it, that's okay. But on the tasting, on the Willy Wonka tasting, we were basically sipping gasoline. and what happened was, does your audience know what they do there? Do you want to give them a little background on what Lost Spirits does?
I mean, part of it is the amusement park, like
no, not that.
This guy used to work in amusement parks, but they're actually taking this. They're doing a very modern technology of making spirits taste older. And they actually do that. The rums that I had that were just a few years old tasted like they could be 10 or 15. I actually have one of the rums in my basement. I love it. And they have a scotch they've made taste older, but they're smart guys. And it's pretty amazing what they do.
We found it, my wife and I went, and we found it so interesting. So in the tour, they literally built a fucking Willy Wonka tour. You get on this fake boat. I mean, it's ridiculous. The whole thing is absurd. But I guess they sold their technology to somebody and just printed money, and they just wanted to play. So God bless. But then they take you in the back and they tell you how they do this shit. So they distill. They have a beautiful, a traditional still where they make their white dog, and then they have this machine, and they buy old furniture that's made of specific wood, vintage furniture. They chop it down. They put the wood in this machine with the white dog, and they blast it with UV light for like a week. Yes. And boom, chicka wow wow, they have unlocked the essence of old wood into the white dog, and they have recreated the flavor profile of a 15 to 20 year aged
whiskey.
It's amazing. And holy shit, it actually... because it's so genius, because they didn't go, how do we speed up aging? They went, how do we take this flavor profile and just find a completely different path to end up there?
Science and chemistry, baby.
Amazing.
It's fucking wild.
It's really good. We love the Lost Spirits. Great.
But they should serve it at 80 fucking proof on the tour, because the flavor.
Proofs.
What I was getting at was they give you a bottle of water to wash in between. The shots tasted like my asshole. The water after shot tasted glorious. And I went, there's a flavor in here that's excellent, but it needs to be dialed way back because this tastes like gasoline.
I'm going to, you know, we're supposed to, you know, capitalize and shit. I'm opening up my own water shop right outside this fucking factory. The water, like $27 a bottle. It's good shit.
Have you guys done a water tasting before? Or is it a uniquely LA thing?
Yeah, that's probably, like I said, New York City. Plus, New York.
Well, Matty would probably enjoy. I mean, I would enjoy it too.
You're from here, man.
Waters and
everyone's water sucks. I'm like, no, my man. New York's water comes from
New York water's good. Yeah, New York
in reservoir, baby.
Yeah, New York water's good. There's
the water can matter a lot. It can. I'll tell you a few others I like from California. There's a really amazing, if you like a real strong smoke element, there's a really great distillery from Oxnard, California, that's making Warbringer. Have you had Warbringer, brethren, by chance? It's called the South.
That's a great name. I love the names of stuff too. It's like Warbringer. I mean, that's really a presumptuous intent. Like
it's serious. It's serious stuff. The guy,
Warbringer for when you think you might not come home.
Often straight flags. Now I'm already thinking of the marketing.
The Warbringer. I mean, that's a really.
The guy that makes it is a real scientist. He comes up with this way to really just smoke the hell out of the grains. Josh Barnett, the MMA fighter, is
Josh Barnett. He's the homie. You know, I know that dude.
Do you know Josh? He is
he's the homie.
People. So Josh and the founder of Warbringer, Dave, a good friend of mine, they got together and they did this barrel proof Warbringer bourbon. So we had
Josh is he's really into cars.
Yeah, he is.
We relate on a car level. I'm not that into fighting. Honestly, I've never even fucking seen the guy fight.
Right.
We only ever talked about cars. Like, I know he's a fighter, but like, I don't know. I don't go fight like cars.
Yeah. We had Josh on the show a few months ago trying the Warbringer. It's amazing stuff.
Nice.
They do a great process. So we love the Warbringer from Oxnard. Sonoma County Distilling Company. They make some great bourbon in Sonoma, and also Savage and Cook is Dave Finney's distillery. They're doing some bourbon and used wine barrels. It's amazing stuff too. So
I like that. I like the wine barrel age.
Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, you get a little of that. Like, is it like Merlot they use? It's like some kind of red wine flavor, right?
They're using a variety. They're using some cab barrels from Dave Finney distilleries, and they're using on their they do one called Lip Service, which is finished in used Grenache barrels from France from Dave Finney.
I bet whoever gets to toast those barrels, I bet that smells delicious.
They're amazing.
My favorite smell in the entire world.
What is it?
Is the Buffalo Trace Distillery.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it?
When I went to the Buffalo Trace Distillery and I smelled that wood and that corn together, that was the greatest smell. I mean, it was sweet, and it was that moment when I got there, because I went to Buffalo Trace for a film I did with a Corvette Z06 in 2015.
Oh, cool.
That was when I first got into bourbon. Yeah. I went to Kentucky to do a Corvette thing. We did a bourbon thing. We went to Buffalo Trace, and I really learned about bourbon from them, and that was where I kind of super got into Blanton's. Blanton's is my shit. Blanton's is my jam. These selections I have here are very good, and I will stand by by them. But I actually felt a little dumb because my best shit is at my cigar lounge at the shop, and I forgot to bring it home because I'm stupid. But that smell at the Buffalo Trace Distillery was the best smell I think I've ever smelled. Amazing.
It is a great place. It's so many great. Of course, the Pappy's aged there. The George T. Stagg. Have you gotten any of the gold edition, the barrel proof from Blanton's?
I have. I had a Blanton's gold. I have a friend out here. My friend Dave. He works in Hollywood. He's a visual effects supervisor, and he is like a junkie with the fucking Facebook groups and all this stuff. And I mean, he's got hundreds of bottles of all high-end crazy shit. Right. And we sent some bottles. He was a big fan of Opie, and we sent some bottles to Opie, and I got him on Opie's podcast with me. Actually, it was he came because he's from New York, and he was a big fan of O&A, and kind of came full circle. But I've tried all that great stuff, and every year for my birthday, he buys me some next level shit. And then, do you know Johnny Lieberman at Motor Trend? I mean, he's a big bourbon snob as well. So he always brings me some crazy shit. when he comes on the podcast or for my birthday. And he's brought me the Boss Hog. He's brought me some really good stuff. And so I'm very lucky. I don't have to buy a lot of bottles. I can't drink it as fast as people buy it, bring it by the studio for the show. People bring gifts. It's very nice of them. And we've got a lot of booze around, so I don't have to buy anything.
I love it. Did you try this year's Boss Hog, the Magellan's Atlantic?
No, tell me about it. Should I?
So it is, and so I was actually saying in a show earlier I was doing earlier tonight, it is probably one of my favorite whiskeys of the last several years. It's a 17-year-old WhistlePig that's been finished in teak wood and ex-Spanish barrels. It's out of this world. The newest Boss Hog is amazing. Every Boss Hog's amazing, but this year's is just probably the best they've ever done. It really is.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'll check that out. Is it enormous money like all the Boss Hogs?
So yeah, all the Boss Hogs, they go for $500 each because they're all really good. They're all really old rye whiskeys, so they're well worth it. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I will check that out. That sounds. I think the best store by me is the Wine House in West LA.
Yep.
Has a great selection. Offline, if you know the DL spot that I don't know in LA, I'd love a recommendation because
I'll help you
where I live by the beach, man, they fucking rip you off. But I mean, Blanton's is $90. Fuck out of here. This is bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not about that life. No, I'm always down to try new shit too. Like, whatever. People send bottles like, I got something over here. Litchfield Distillery, someone gave me. It was pretty good. I was kind of about that.
Did you like it? I'm not trying
I thought it was decent. Yeah, it wasn't like didn't change the game, but it was nice. This Montgomery American Single Malt, which is from Montana, it's only 5 years, but it's very nice. Notes of honey, toffee, and malt with warm spice, fig, and raisin on the finish. This is from Missoula, Montana.
Yeah, the single malt category is blowing up. The single malts, those are really becoming one of the bigger ones that we're seeing among craft distilleries. Just so many great ones. So many great people joining us. Walken, I see.
You know what's another good one? I'll take a quick left real quick. We just went to Tahiti 2 weeks before fucking lockdown back in February. We went to Tahiti. It was awesome. This Peri Peri rum of Taha'a. Spectacular.
Wow.
Tiny little cane sugar processing plant on a tiny little fucking island, and this beautiful rum. I mean, really, really, really beautiful rum. I can't recommend it highly enough. I don't even know if you can find it in America. If you can, get it. It's amazing.
Go to Tahiti.
Also, go to Tahiti. I don't know if you guys have ever been to Tahiti. I cannot recommend that highly enough. I mean, seriously, you want to talk about a place that is extremely next level, and probably a little less expensive than you think. I cannot recommend it highly enough. It really, really is a fabulous. But I'm gonna go back as many times as they'll let me. Say it again, Matty.
I did Fiji, and that was life changing. But everyone, once you get Polynesia and all those islands, man, it's just a different part of life when you get out there.
Totally. And what's cool about Tahiti is the French influence. So you've got your island culture, and then you've got your baguette culture. The role of the baguette in everyday life in Bora Bora will never cease to amaze me. I went to Bora Bora. How was it? The fucking baguettes. I mean, they were off the chain.
And you're like, wait, what? Yeah. Huh?
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
He was like, qu'est-ce que c'est? I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, baguettes. Tu parles français, yo connaissez baguettes.
Are you, Matty, are you a boater? Or Tom, are you a boater, a sailor, a yachtsman, anything like that?
I like going on boats. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I have no such skills. I've been on other people's boats.
I like to ride them.
I do. We've explained this. I do have a very special skill. Now, again, this is a very East Coast thing. If you need an asshole to remove all the sea robins so you can catch all the good fish, you call me. There could be 6 sea robins. I will catch fucking all of them. The thing is, where's Matt? Listen to the sound of pulling a sea robin off a hook. They're like, that has a sound? And all that. I'm like, how come you guys caught bluefish? I'm like, you caught another sea robin? I'm like, that's a record. I'm like, fuck you. So
I used to do Bluefish back in the Sound back in the day. Bunker and Bluefish. Yeah. It was good. It's a good life. Bunker and Bluefish. Yeah, it's all right.
C. Robbins for you every time. We're like, fuck is this? Matt, what did you call it? Everyone, go fuck themselves. Enjoy your catch. I hate you all. My catch. It's fucking C. Robbins.
That's hilarious.
All right, I'm going to pour a little bit right now to toast with you there, Matt.
What do you got?
It's great when we have two Matts on the show. I'm gonna toast a little of the WhistlePig. I'm gonna pour a little of this 15 with you there, and have a little of that. And I want to mention to everybody watching, if you like this video on social, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or YouTube, and you also share it, you automatically get entered to win that Janus Coffee Roasters amazing bourbon. It's a bourbon barrel aged coffee, and I got to tell you.
Yeah,
they already doing a great one, Chad Bates and the gang. But probably this next week, Matty, the one that I partnered with, Chad, they're from Wyoming. We have partnered with them on a Breckenridge bourbon barrel aged coffee, Bourbon Blog, and Janus Coffee Roasters. It's going to be available probably next week. Chad's telling me just now. So
I just got some of those bourbon beans. Those are good.
Oh,
as
amazing!
We got to get you out. Shad, I know you're out there, Shad. Matt's family. We got to make sure we get Matt some beans.
Yeah.
Roasts out of
You know what I do with that? Here's what I do with that. I would do cold brew, and then I'd make it pretty intense, and then I would carbonate because I fuck with the whipping siphon.
Oh, so
I would carbonate the cold brew, and then I would go like twist of orange maybe or something like that. Like it would be the bomb, dude.
Do I need to send Matt and special because I know you can't get.
We got to.
You know, I'm sponsored by AeroPress. You know, AeroPress is one of my sponsors.
No, I didn't know that.
You know that I've figured out how to have my entire life sponsored. It's worked out really well. Everything I like in my life, I've gotten to pay me.
I like it. And you're sitting here talking about getting whiskey to sponsor you. I'm thinking, I've often thought, could I get a car brand to sponsor me? But I'm whiskey. I don't know if I could have the crossover there. Could I?
100%. Patron Highcroft Racing. You know, the connection between liquor and racing is both ironic, hilarious, and persistent.
Yeah. It has to be. Moonshiners getting out of town and all that.
Yeah, I mean, NASCAR's foundations are liquor, pretty much.
Has to be.
You can definitely get a liquor company and a car company to sponsor you for sure.
Gotta do it.
You'd have to do something very corny, like drop sets of keys into some bowl and be like, now I'm gonna put the car away, and it's a fine line. Well, cool. I walk a fine line. I mean, I pretty much, to have a ganja sponsor and then also drive real fast cars real fast is a pretty fine line to walk.
Right. Well, we want to make sure everybody knows we only promote responsible drinking. Don't drink and drive. Obviously, we love cars. We love whiskey. I wanted to show you this also, and thanks. Annabelle just grabbed this for me. My wife was so kind because I had the Boss Hog close by tonight. This is the new Boss Hog. This is the pig.
Oh wow! Look at that. That's fabulous.
Holding up, cape there, doing the whole running of the bulls. So you got to try out the new Boss Hog. That's it.
Look. I mean, look how sad mine is. Mine sucks. Mine doesn't have a gargoyle.
You're gonna love this Boss Hog.
Very good sweet tea.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet tea.
I'm gonna go with you. Tom. We're going with the Boss Hog.
A little 15. The 15 is so good with a cigar too. I mean, the 15 is the depth on the 15 is amazing with a cigar. It's so nice.
Are you personally offended that there's ice in my glass?
Not at all. No, I like ice sometimes. It's good. Absolutely.
You know what the most important way to drink whiskey is? Whatever the fuck way you feel like.
I agree.
Stainless steel bin. My whiskey was distilled in. Fantastic. Maybe notes of Dawn, possibly, or whatever they've cleaned the iced tea thing with. But yeah, cheers.
Did somebody rob your bottle? What's up? What's your deal? What's the deal with Matty Rock?
Matty Rock anymore.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay, good for you. I apologize for making it a thing. Enjoy your iced tea.
That's hilarious. That's what when you smoke $100 cigar, you're supposed to have McDonald's sweet.
That's what you're supposed to do.
That's what Carl would do if he wasn't drinking. It is probably. You know what I watch all the time, Matty? I watch probably twice a week. Is Carl's iPhone food reviews. I watch him talk about the Outback Steakhouse and Applebee's and Cracker Barrel and shit like at least once a month. I mean, some of the lines in that fucking, you know, there was very little content on YouTube that was more authentic and smart than that kind of stuff. And
dude, I miss him every day, and I couldn't agree more, bro.
I have 2 portraits of that dude hanging in my office. I should probably put one somewhere else. It's kind of weird. I'm wearing the Ruizing bracelet. This was from Guy's Memorial. Yep. Yeah. Actually, you know whose Guy has not to just straight celebrity name drop, but you know, after Carl's memorial, Guy didn't go away. You know, he if I text him, he gets back to me within 5 minutes. I mean, it's for someone that's as busy as that guy is, he is one of the nicest, most generous people. I mean, I'm shocked. You know, when I went to Carl's memorial and it was kind of like, who are you? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm the car guy. And then he figured it out like a half hour later who I was. He was like, oh no, you're that guy. Oh, okay, cool. And I was like, yeah, you know, it's kind of a bummer because I could always text Carl 24/7 my food questions. He goes, here's my number. You text me. I go, okay. He goes, I'm gonna text you for my car questions. And okay, and he actually has, which is interesting. And I'm renovating a house. I bought a new house with my wife, and we're renovating. And the best fucking guy line is I asked him what, you know, because I asked Carl about my kitchen when he came here and cooked for me in my house, in my kitchen, and I said, what's the number one upgrade I need to do in my kitchen? And he was like, the pedals, the foot pedals for the sink, right? The hot and the cold foot pedals. I looked into it, it's fucking like $5,000. I'm not doing the foot pedals. So then at Carl's memorial, and I went to Guy's house with Opie. He got me to Guy's house. I wasn't really invited, but he got Opie. I went in with Opie, and I asked Guy about his kitchen, which was the most incredible kitchen I've ever seen in my life. And he goes, it's all about those BTUs, brother. And he pulled like 6 shrimp out of the fridge. He goes, watch this, and fucking throws a pan on, and his stove is 36,000 BTUs. The most powerful stove I can find in like the high-end stove catalog is like 22,000. This dude's stove is so crazy. And he makes these shrimp. He throws some fucking butter and some garlic, and bam! You know, and he makes shrimp in like 30 seconds. And I was like, what the fuck? What sorcery is
Yeah.
I will echo that, Matt. We've been fortunate to spend some time with Guy as well. He usually comes to Kentucky Derby, and he has been great to give us some great interviews. Yeah. We've had some great whiskey with him and lit up a few cigars. And sometimes in the $1,000 mint julep tent, we've had some great stuff with him. So he is splendid. He does a great
job. Remember that shirt I sold, Matty Rock, the shirt of Carl with the pizza, and it said, "Don't trust your own taste. Chances are you have none."
To paraphrase, it was money, man.
It was a great shirt, right? We raised. We ended up donating it to Guy's, you know, restaurant relief fund, and it was like almost 20 G's. Actually, it was good. It was good. It was nice. I'm glad we got to do it. Was, you know, it seemed pertinent at the time that it should be done in the
agreed
in the chef's honor. But you know, I got you know, when he came to my house, he wanted to cook for me, and I had him make me matzo ball soup, and I didn't write down how he fucking did it, and so it took me like 7 or 8 tries to actually get it right, remembering and writing down, you know, what he did. I finally got it right. I actually did get it right, and I have the recipe written down. And now I make it for really special people, because it is the most labor and dish intensive. When Carl came to my house and made this dish, he filled my sink like he had a fucking Mira dishwasher waiting there to clean everything. My sink was piled.
Oh, you're stuck. Yeah. And you're stuck with that shit. Hey, I cooked a meal, cuz you're done. Yeah, fucking done.
And so he spends 3 hours making matzo ball soup in my kitchen. We're drinking. And then after we eat the matzo ball soup, I mean, we make this thing. It takes hours. We eat it. And he goes, now let's go to dinner. I go, I thought we just had dinner. You spent all afternoon making this. I thought this was dinner. Nah, cuz. Now we're going to go to dinner. And he takes me to APL. He takes me to Adam Perry Lang.
Wow.
Dinner. You could be going at Matt. We're starting here. We'll end up here. Like, where are we going? To the oldest Polish place in New Jersey. He goes, all right, here we're going next. The last place that makes British pasties.
Carl gave me this. This is an image from 2019 of the 100 best restaurants in LA. LA Eater magazine.
Wow.
Original artwork, 100 best restaurants in LA, visualized. And so we started going to them and using dry erase markers and crossing them out like a fucking shit. And then my housekeeper, bless her heart, fucking wiped the shit. Oh, it's better. I had a worse one. You want to hear a bad house? Let me tell you about a housekeeper fuck up. And bless her heart, Rosa meant well. But back in the day, me and my roommates, we grew some fucking super, super fire ganj. We had like 6-8 plants at the crib at my old house when we used to live together, me and my friends, right? And we grew this weed and we trimmed it. It was fucking so fire. It was delightful, right? Everything was great. This was when wax was really coming out. And so we learned how to make wax, dabs, which is, for those who don't know, concentrated THC, really high 90% concentrated THC. So we made this, it's this PVC pipe thing, and you put all your clippings and shit in there, and then you use CO2, liquid CO2, to freeze the crystals off, and this goo comes out the other end, and we put it into a pie plate. And our housekeeper fucking washed the pie plate and washed like $2,000, $3,000. And look, because it looked kind of like we had made like a pecan pie and just not washed the dish.
I could just see 10 people that look like freaking John Penn from Fast Food. Dude!
Oh my God. Like it was thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah, I could feel that thing. Bro, what happened?
Oh my God.
Major
fan. And what do you do? Yell at the housekeeper for cleaning the sticky goo off of a pie plate? You know what I mean? Like, you can't even be mad. You can't be mad at that. Like, sorry. Those were my drugs. You were supposed to know.
If you were super stoned at the time, I could see the story. This is the kind of goo you leave. This is the kind of goo that's bad that you use extra.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Bad goo.
There needs to be a master class on what type of goo should be washed down the drain and should not.
Goo.
The WhistlePig is
so good.
It's bad.
It's so nice. As rye gets older and older, it's one of those things that it just like the way bourbon ages picks up the char is one thing, but when rye ages, it's more like a cognac. I love the elegance of an old rye. 15-year-old rye like this one. Actually, the last distillery, outside of Kentucky, we've been going to Peerless the last few months, but outside of Kentucky, the last distillery we went to, we were actually at WhistlePig in Vermont when the shutdown happened. So we were right there sipping some great stuff, and we came back home. So that was one of the last places we went.
You want to know something really embarrassing?
What's that?
I just learned that this was rye and not bourbon right now. I never really read the bottom half of the bottle.
100% rye. It's all right. No, it's amazing.
Attention to detail from the journalist in the room.
We love the 10. We love the 12. We're going to make sure you try the Peerless at some point. We will. Again, for all those just joining us, it's bourbonblog.com/live. And we do these every Saturday about 8 p.m. Eastern. Do we know who's going to be with us next week, Matt?
Couple the deck for New Year, but we got artist Mario Pena slated for January. We got Fieri from The Sopranos.
Wow.
We have
really?
Yeah, man. I'll join.
What's his real name?
Federico.
Federico. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So,
Yo, I am the biggest Sopranos fan ever.
All right.
You know how many times I watched the whole shit all the way through? Like so fucking many times.
Cigar guy, man. So we will.
That's awesome.
So I got to figure out the schedule because I'm slacking for the new year, and then we have some other Ernie Padilla, the famous cigar maker, who's been making cigars for 25 years. So we'll have Ernie on the show. So I'm just gonna go figure out dates, and we will drop a line. All you guys and gals out there, by Wednesday, you will know who next Saturday's guest is going to be.
So many great people coming up, of course. Amazing to have Matt Farah of the Smoking Tire tonight. And if you did happen to join us someplace halfway through or just now, this video will be up permanently on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook, and will also be on Bourbon Blog's podcast. We love the Smoking Tire podcast, but if you're a whiskey fan, you like spirits, subscribe.
We drink on that show too.
Well, yeah, we have. You drink on your show. We get to drink as we do the podcast. How good is that, right? It helps the voice. It helps the thoughts. What else does it help?
Yeah, it's excellent.
It helps everything, doesn't it?
It helps me really speak my truth.
Me too. Me too. So subscribe to our podcast and subscribe to the Smoking Tire, which again you can find on smokingtire.com.
You can find all our shit on the smokingtire.com, but all the social media, all the YouTubes, the Smoking Tire. Just look for it. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite podcast? As people Google these, they're like, do you have
a favorite episode?
Yeah.
Nah, I mean, no. I mean, if you want to listen to your podcast, it's just wherever you download podcasts. I mean, Jesus. That's a pressure question. No, I don't have a favorite episode. I don't. But if you want, so it's a weird thing to plug, but I had another podcast, not the Smoking Tire. It's not defunct. It got taken over by other hosts. I walked away from it, which was my podcast about watches. And it was called Watch and Listen.
Right.
And it was really fun while it lasted. While I left it is not important. What is important is that there was an episode called Carl Ruins Everything. And it's me and Carl doing radio about watches. And Carl, he had a perspective about the world that, in my opinion, only people like a George Carlin, a Patrice O'Neill, maybe a Dave Chappelle, in their own way. And we're talking about professional comedians, and I'm talking about a fucking chef. Carl taught me a lot of what I know about watches. A lot of my taste in watches comes from what I thought Carl thought was cool. And I think he had great taste. And so there's the episode of Watch and Listen podcast that I did where we talk. It's Carl Ruins Everything is what it's called. And he also did another one with the history of Rolex, which was very funny.
Wow.
And where Carl
room, bro. You know that.
Well, I mean, he had the knowledge. It was the combination of the technical knowledge and the historical knowledge, but also the eye. He had the eye, but also the street smarts. And so it's a combination of all those things. And so I love the Smoking Tire podcast. I love the every day getting to fucking talk to my friends and interesting people about cars and shit. But also considering, I'm here with Matty Rock and I'm here with you, Tom, like, if you want an entry point into my world and you are familiar with Carl from this podcast, I would say if you find that episode, it's an entry into my world with Carl, in which I think it's one of the things that I most enjoyed going back and listening to. Everything Carl said in that show was right. And everything he told me to do, I did, and it was right.
Yeah, he had a sixth sense about the world around him. He was always right.
He really figured it out.
Yep. Well, we use that hashtag, and everyone has a different perception of what it is, and we know it's ruizing. Matt does ruizing. So ruizing is living life at its fullest on your terms. So ruizing, having the best meal, the best drink, the best smoke, the best anything, the best chick. That's what ruizing is. Live your life to the full. And if you're doing it without hurting anybody, never be sorry about it. And I got news for you. There's a certain amount of freedom with having that. And we talked about it. And he goes, what does ruizing mean to you? And I say ruizing. I was like, to me. I was like, Ruizing is having time around people who are important to you. Ruizing is about having that meal that to you is so special, or eating something or drinking something that's special, or doing something that's just so fucking offbeat, you know, like videos of us going to a White Castle at 2:00 in the morning with the fucking bump box dancing.
Crumbs with bums.
Yeah.
Crumbs with bums. I'd rather have crumbs with bums than steaks with snakes. That
and
was,
it was
the line.
He was as real as they come. Camera, no camera. What you saw is always what you got. He was the real deal.
And what's interesting to me is like how many friends I made at his funeral. You know, there's now people like Matty Rock and like Guy and like Sherrod, and that I, you know, and rest in peace Vic Henley, who I actually met at Carl's Memorial as well, and got to do a little bit of radio with. I mean, the one, you know, I did some radio, the 90 minutes of radio I did with Vic Henley. I mean, with some fucking, I dropped bombs, and I was really proud of myself about the radio I did with Vic Henley, because he was such a pro, and I stood my fucking ground and dropped bombs on him, and I enjoyed that very much. And so, you know, I love doing radio very much. I love my job reviewing sports cars and talking about sports cars, and I don't have a lot of special skills, but the skills I do have, I'm fucking way better at than other people.
What I do have is a very special set of skills.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So not a lot of people can drive 80% race pace while having a casual conversation about the trunk space or the Bluetooth in a car. I can do that.
It's true. We speak truth, but blessing to have you on the show, bro.
Yes, thank you, Matt. It's been amazing, and to give away that coffee, a number between 1 and we've had 42 shares or so, at least 42. I'm seeing a name attached to every share. Matt Farah, a number between 1 and 42 to pick out.
31.
All right, 31 goes to Freddie Jefferson, who's a regular watcher. You're a winner of that coffee from Janus Coffee Roasters, and again, be watching for our partnership with them. We'll make sure we get you some of that, Matt. And
give me a bag. I want to try that shit.
Yeah, amazing stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cheers, Matty, and Matt. Thank you so much. What a great way to spend day after Christmas with you guys. Cheers to everyone. Much love, everybody.
And for all the Jews out there,
happy Hanukkah.
A happy Hanukkah and the L'chaim.
L'chaim. To life, friends. Thank you.
Much love. See you
Good night,
soon.
guys.
Thanks, guys.